And so the adventure begins. Heading through downtown Hampton, on my way to the airport. We're going to Vegas, baby.
All right, so I said on a scale of 1 to 10, we got 10, 8, 9, 2.
Sir, how goes it?
You guys see each other all the time.
How you doing?
Maybe someday you'll see my face. Thank you.
What did you
Yes, yeah, exactly. It is about school. And that's one point he makes in it.
Boom. It's not going to get any better. Although I think what I'm going to do is underline there going forward.
That's an instant diet that's provided by a meme poster. For once, I'm memed in a polite manner. I like that.
Oh, landmark. We'll definitely do a landmark. Yeah.
Yes.
You get it?
Oh, that's great. What are you going to push button?
Yeah. I went up to Mandalay Bay at the MGM and brought up a bunch of guns and had a sort of psychopath face, but like he was a great salesman, great marketer. He's mostly a dislikable and dislikable person by almost everyone he met in his life. And of course, he's an actor, sometimes relatively unique. Now, the concerns arose pretty quickly when I told people I was here then.
Pulled his way out of it. He's now a conservative living in Team Arizona.
Never heard anything about it.
No,
Absolutely. Get in.
I'm trying to get out of here.
Get out of the...
All right, that was fun.
Great moments in American meetup history, Hunley.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it wasn't. Speaking of great moments, there for a minute, Rumble was ahead of YouTube on viewers.
What?
Yeah, it's showing 577 viewing on Rumble. Let me refresh that. Yeah, 577.
Wow.
And YouTube,
Rumble.
we're at 700 now, so that's still growing, but that's wow. That's a lot of viewers on Rumble. People
What did
are really
Beaver get? The Rumble of the Year award? He had some box he was showing the other day.
That's you know how we've talked about the silver play button on YouTube?
Yeah.
That's Rumble's version. So we're at 7,100 subs and change. So in 92 and a half thousand more subs, we'll get one of those blocks too, possibly.
Boy, if only I could live that long, Hunley.
Yeah, you never know.
Live that long. Yeah. Well, that was fun in Vegas, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
That was some good footage. I mean, the show was good. The people, they were different. I mean, they got online to sign everything and brought other stuff with them. I mean, it was fun.
Oh, yeah. It was a great time. I mean,
how'd you like the food, by the way? That was pretty good.
Yeah, food wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Especially for conference food, because a lot of times you go to a conference, it's like,
well, that was an Italian restaurant in there. So, I mean, it seemed to be functioning as a restaurant too.
Well, that makes sense. They used it, I think they said, as part of, or it was used in Casino. That they shot a couple scenes in there.
Oh, somebody mentioned that. Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, it could dress as anything, that place. You could dress it up as anything.
Yeah, it was an interesting place, but it worked beautifully, and it was a beautiful evening, which is remarkable too.
That was my executive call, by the way, to put that on the stage at the last minute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't want to get involved. And the blonde girl who was the producer came up and said, "You think we should do this in the bar?" And I said, "No, put it right there." And then Barnes said, "Yeah, right there." And then she said, "Okay." And everything went crazy. They put it up on that stage. but it was obvious to me. I mean,
well,
was,
there's a stage. It's a good place to have a show.
Assumed it was going to go on that stage, and apparently, originally we were going to sit in that dark bar in the back.
Yeah, and it was kind of hot in there too. It was kind of hot.
Well, hot or not, it was just a dark, weird bar backdrop, you know.
Yeah, it was great out there and cool. They had that backdrop made and everything else. And Oswald, of course, planted his flag on our table like he does.
That was nice of him. That was very nice.
That's right. Oswald.
It was good to meet Viva. Obviously, I'd met Barnes before, but I'd never met David before personally.
Yeah, definitely. So let me see. To start things off, I guess in the theme of entertainment.
Wait, you can't forget about entertainment for 2 seconds. Today's St. Patrick's Day. Let's just honor the green before we get started with the show. For me personally, I'm half Irish and half Jewish, so it's a big day for me because I never knew whether to drink or save my money, Hunley. So growing up as half Irish and half Jewish, I would drive around all St. Patrick's Day looking for discount liquors. If that makes any sense to you out there. So it's a big day for the Irish, a big day for me and half of my family. It's the storytelling part, I think the poetry side of me comes from the Irish. And obviously, I think the storytelling part comes from the Irish. The green, just to explain some of this green, this is, I don't know if anybody knows what this logo is. That's Manny Pacquiao, the famous fighter. This is part of his line, the Pacquiao line out of the Philippines. This is a shirt from an obscure movie called Titanic from The Crew.
Never heard of it.
This is rare in honor of the Oscars, which we're going to get into in a little bit. And this is a strange hat. This is very rare. 1937 Brooklyn Dodgers, the only time they ever wore green as a uniform instead of Dodger blue for 1 year. 1937 was the only time they ever did it. I don't know why they did it, but they did do it. And I've got this commemorative Brooklyn Dodger hat from 1937. The Dodgers won 62, 91, and 2. I don't know, the 2 is 2 ties. They lost 91 games that year, finished in 6th place, and they said, F it, we're never doing this again, and went back to Dodger Blue in 1938 and hired an obscure first base coach to stand over there in Dodger Blue for the first time, I think the only time, and his name was Babe Ruth. The Dodgers hired an elderly Babe Ruth the following year to be the first base coach of the Dodgers. Babe Ruth hoping against all odds to become the Dodgers manager, and that was not to be. That was Babe Ruth's dream as a Yankee becoming a Dodger. The Dodgers and Yankees had gone back and forth a couple of times, but 1937 Dodger green in honor of opening day, which is now only about 10, 12 days away. So I thought I'd go with the spring training baseball motif. Also watched For the Love of the Game, which I'd like to shout out as a possible movie pick of the weekend with Kevin Costner and John Travolta's late wife, Kelly Preston, who is wonderful in this movie. It's a romantic comedy. The ladies will love this. If the men want to watch it, it's also a great baseball picture with Kevin Costner as a pitcher. The thing that'll break your heart is the announcer of the game is Vin Scully. And that just gets me weeping right away. As soon as I heard Vinny, I was in tears. So if you want a weeper, a good baseball romantic calm weeper for the weekend, go with For the Love of the Game. You will adore that film. And now on with the show.
Okay. Did their season improve when they went back to blue?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, immediately. Oh, sure.
Okay.
1938, 1939, absolutely improved. There was some, they must have freaked out in green because no Dodger team had ever been in green before or after from 1938 till today. You know, when we were in Vegas, I went to this mall across the street from the hotel, and they had a Dodger store there in the middle of the mall of Dodger gear. And I was like, I went in there. I didn't buy anything. But, you know, I had it all. But I just thought it was weird. It's like a national team now or something.
Crazy. Well, I guess Pittsburgh's kind of a national team.
Pittsburgh. Well, I don't know about Pittsburgh so much. Well, maybe.
Yeah, with the terrible towels and everything, they're pretty legendary.
Could be. The Cowboys are definitely a national team. Some ways the Atlanta Braves, because they were on with Turner Broadcasting for a number of years, which was a national channel that Turner owned, and he owned the Braves. And then he went in and put on a uniform and went in the dugout as the owner, and they banned him. No owner is allowed to do that. And Turner went in there as the owner with a uniform. I vaguely remember that.
Weird. All right. So in the theme of entertainment, we'll have our own in memoriam here.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Since apparently the Oscars just doesn't seem to want to cover everybody who dies. What's going on?
They, I've said this for years. All you have to do is hire an intern or just hire a person. Go, that's your one job. Look at everyone who died and work in reverse. Just take the year in review, whoever's celebrity died, Google, and then just make a list. Just print it out and just, circle the ones who were Academy members. What is so freaking difficult? They picked out a guy. I don't even know. I can't even pronounce the guy's name. Some black dude who was the band leader for Smokey Robinson. I mean, not even a member of the Academy. There's people in there, POCs, who they put in there for reasons that can only be political to jam them through, who had no connection with the movies or television. Obscure non-celebrities who were in publicity departments, who were in a jazz band, just odd choices. But the ones they left out are even odder, Eric.
Yeah, some pretty big names in there.
Yeah, inexplicable. Had to be intentional. I mean, this is Anne Heche, obviously, died in a fiery car crash recently, fairly close to a lot of my friends. So that was personal. The Anne Heche one was personal, but not as personal as the next one, which was really personal. No, not Fred Ward. Fred Ward from The Player, written by Michael Tolkien, who went to Bard when I was at Bard. The guy who wrote The Player, Fred Ward, was in that movie. And a bunch of other movies. Fred Ward should have been in memoriam, no doubt about it. Possibly 50, 60 films off the top of my head, Fred Ward. And of course, Gilbert. Gilbert, if you look at Gilbert's IMDb, 192 entries for Gilbert. Yes, 192 for Gilbert, a man who worshipped Hollywood. He worshipped movies. I mean, they said, F him. I mean, you can't tell me that Gilbert Gottfried's name did not come up for even Aladdin, for the voice in Aladdin, Eric, right? You know what I mean? For Problem Child 1 and 2, for Look Who's Talking 2, for another 180 appearances in movies and television. They just said, nah, I don't think so. I think that we don't like this guy. Jesus.
I highly, highly recommend everybody check out the Joe Rogan interview with Gilbert Gottfried.
Fantastic interview.
He really goes into his love of cinema and the history, and there's a lot in that, and it's so close to his passing on that it was a wonderful timing on Rogan's part.
I think we learned about it in the middle of the show, right, Eric?
I think so. I think
we learned about it when we were doing the day of a show.
Right. It was right in a time, but then our show that we happened to be doing next or whatever was about your time with Gilbert.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
We cut that out even because into a little segment if people want to check that out by itself.
Dude, nobody would have appreciated it more than Gilbert and his family, to see him up there. But it's just unbelievable what this thing's become, this shit show of insanity. Really, I mean, Paul Sorvino. I mean, come on. I mean, how do you leave out Paulie Walnut? Paulie Sorvino, Big Paulie. I mean, his daughter even had to give a shout out. Mira Sorvino had to say this is outrageous, that it was political. I mean, this is what it's come down to now. This is how petty these MOs are. These MFers are. This is how petty it is because he supported somebody they didn't agree with. Politically, according to Mira Sorvino and his ex-wife. I mean, it's outrageous. It really is. They can't find a newer low every month to come into a lower level of degradation for themselves.
They find a way, though.
They find a way. They find a way.
You think they can't, but trust me.
Yeah, it's amazing. Oh, Philip Baker Hall. Another pick. Philip Baker Hall was obviously in Boogie Nights. But I'll say this. Check out a movie called Hard 8, where he plays a hitman who's retired, a movie called Hard 8 with Philip Baker Hall. And you'll love this guy in that movie. I just think of some of the lines from the film. Sorry. Yeah, great actor. And of course, I mean, this was personal. It was a friend of mine and a guy who wrestled with addiction his whole freaking life and finally got some sobriety under his belt. Whatever happened to him with a brain hemorrhage or an aneurysm, whatever happened has nothing to do with his addiction. The point of the matter is this guy had credits that people would die for these credits, you know, from Saving Private Ryan to Heat. I mean, give me a break. What do you got to do to get in this in memoriam? I mean, this is one of the most incredible character actors in the history of film. I mean, Sizemore, whatever his foibles were for the disease of addiction, has nothing to do with his ability as an actor on the screen. I mean, just absolutely mesmerizing when Tom Sizemore was in a big film. It's just absolutely outrageous what they've done here.
Yeah, he's right up there and was playing with De Niro, Pacino, and
for the love of God, for the love of God.
And somebody says such an. We don't think it's an oversight, folks.
We don't think it's an oversight. No. I mean, Dr. Drew and I worked very closely with Tom Sizemore. Let me put it that way, for a number of years. And Tom was a funny cat from Detroit, totally blue collar, totally working class, and hysterically funny. Detroit native, and tip of the hat to Tom Sizemore, the late Tom Sizemore. Sad. Let me tell you something. Tony Sirico, who I did 2 movies with Tony Sirico, 2 movies, and he told me this story of he was in a bar in New York, and he was drinking in a bar in the middle of the afternoon. He told the bartender to put it on his tab, right? So the bartender was just there for the day. He was a temporary bartender, so he didn't know what tab was which or whatever. He said, I can't, I'm just a temporary bartender. So Tony Sirico said, I'm Tony Sirico, put it on my tab. And the guy says, no. So Tony Sirico leaves, comes back with a baseball bat and starts smashing the guy's brains in with the baseball bat, right? And unknown to Tony Sirico, 2 off-duty cops came in to have a beer. And he was apprehended in mid-murder with a baseball bat and sent to Sing Sing prison. Now, I only know that because Tony Sirico told me that himself. So, again, tip of the hat to Tony Sirico, Paulie Walnuts, incredible movie actor, incredible actor from The Sopranos, a class act who again, beat the odds of being an ex-con and coming back to make movies because it takes a lot of different working class people to make these goddamn movies. And he was one of them. Tony Sirico redeemed himself after he got out of Sing Sing prison and, went for the straight and narrow and became a film actor. So again, Robert Blake, I could leave off, for In Cold Blood. I mean, great performance. And I think,
he's in Beretta. He was in
Mulholland Drive or so. He was in a David Lynch film or two, but the reality,
something Electric Light and Blue. He was in some 70s.
Oh, no. I mean, definitely an odd character actor, but I mean, clearly, murdered his wife. So, I mean, if you're going to leave anybody out, you might as well leave out Robert Blake for killing his wife. He went into the next house next to the restaurant to go see his nicotine anonymous sponsor, because he was tempted to have a cigarette after shooting her. And he went into the restaurant to retrieve his gun and beat the odds in court, Eric, right?
Yep. Electric Light and Blue. Thank you.
Light and Blue, yeah. Yep.
Charles Collins. Now, this next guy is probably going to be in the In Memoriam next year. He's a good actor. He literally died just minutes ago. And
Eric said that. Yeah, from The Wire.
Lance Reddick from The Wire, from Bosch.
They'll have a musical for him. They'll have an entire Lenny Kravitz with a full band. He'll be the first guy.
But he's a good guy. I mean, a good actor. Really liked him a lot.
Okay.
So, but yeah, crazy times. I don't know what to think about any of it. Moving on.
What you want. I mean, the Oscars themselves, if you look at this barrel of crap, it was, just so people know, it used to be a thing called foreign films. It used to be you got nominated for best foreign film. That has now meshed with the regular films. They now call it international film, because foreign, they said, was politically incorrect to call them foreign films. It's okay for 100 years, but Apparently that went out the window. They're now international films. So the films that were nominated were for Best Picture were from other countries. Think about that. I mean, once in a blue moon, a film would win, like It's a Beautiful Life. It's a Beautiful Life? Is that what it was? From
A
Italy?
Wonderful Life.
No.
Okay.
There was one with what's the Italian actor. But I mean, here you have a film, All Quiet on the Western Front, which was nominated for Best Foreign Film or Best International Film and Best Picture, both. Then you've got the thing with Colin Farrell. Not that I wasn't rooting for Colin Farrell, but that film was a Irish film for Best Picture. Was an Irish film paid for by Life is Beautiful, paid for by Robert Benigni. It was the actor. Paid for by the Irish lottery. That film that Colin Farrell was in was paid for, as all Irish films are, and Canadian films and Australian films, by a lottery, a state lottery that they have a film commission and they decide what films are which. For us to promote their film only helps the nation of Ireland. It doesn't do anything for the Academy. It doesn't do anything for the people in the Academy, the guilds, or anything else. This is a foreign film, as is All Quiet on the Western Front, which won all these awards for Germans. And I say the word German derogatorily because they are not going to give Top Gun an award in the German Oscars. The British Oscars are not going to give an award to an American film. Yet we here at this Academy feel it is necessary to give our awards to these foreign films. Now, keep in mind, there are Americans working in these guilds their entire freaking lives waiting for an award like this. And they're saying, F you, you blue-collar, stinking piece of crap film worker. We're going to give it to a foreign country now, which is, I mean, all of those films, the Asian films and everything else. And the woman who came out at the end, who's now the president of the Academy, the woman who is the new president of the Academy. Now, the old president of the Academy, that's how it got woke. They selected as a front a woman who was a secretary at the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science, a black woman. They took the secretary, made her president. And they said, we could control her. This will be easy. Except for one day, a week after she got appointed as secretary of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, she got a phone call. Phone call was from a black woman from D.C. Her name was Michelle Obama. The next day, when she got off that phone, she was a radically different person. Everything about the Academy became woke after that phone call from Michelle Obama to this woman. And indeed, Michelle Obama appeared on a video screen that year of the Oscars. And that's when the woke crap started to happen with the Oscars. That woman was eventually replaced this year by a Chinese woman, Chinese American woman. That's why you saw all the Asian awards 2 nights ago on Sunday night. That woman used to be an intern for Oliver Stone, who has the Asian flu. That woman's name is Janet Yang. And around 2000, when the Chinese started to get involved in our cinema financially, Janet Yang pulled up her stakes and went to China and became like the American representative of Chinese American film, made a fortune as a producer and an interweaver of Chinese and American films. She was the go-to person. She has now come back, doesn't need the money, and has taken on this ceremonial job of president of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. And she's woke as F as well herself. The first thing she did was give a dinner for Sanjin Littlefeather, if you recall, who was the—
Oh, God, the fraud?
No, I didn't want to say that yet, but the woman—
Oh, sorry.
the woman Littlefeather was given— the first thing she did in office was have a dinner to apologize to Littlefeather for the Academy turning their back on her, and not physically turning their back, but some people applauded, some people booed when she came out replacing Marlon Brando, I think in 1972, award. Okay, so Littlefeather, who was stooping Marlon Brando at the time, turns out to be a Latino. Her own sister and her own parents came out and said she had adopted this Native American phony thing, like some senator we know about named Elizabeth Warren. Littlefeather was way ahead of the curve, and her entire life never worked a day. She did like 2 or 3 cowboy pictures where she played an Indian in the background. And after that, all she did was these ceremonial things as Hollywood's representative of the Native American community. She was an entire fraud. She's an entire fraud. And we know that from her family, not unlike the chick up in Washington State who was the NAACP, white chick turned black, and many others recently. But this was the original one to do that. That's why I'm mentioning it. It all starts with Sajine Littlefeather of cultural appropriation and adoption of another culture. That's what she did.
And some say that's when woke Hollywood started too.
Right. Well, that's why I was connecting the two. That's why I was connecting the two worlds, because Janet Yang's first act of office was to give her a dinner. After the dinner, the family came out, denounced her, said she was a fraud. So her first act as president became a political debacle by Janet Yang. The first act she did turned out to be making her the laughing stock of Hollywood because of the fraud that Littlefeather was. The second act was this show on Sunday night.
And she's probably thrilled and proud of it. But speaking
she
of,
went on and on the internet congratulating herself. I've never seen it.
Sorry, go ahead.
I've never seen this before. Page after page after page of congratulations to herself for pulling off the Oscars. Now, the guy last year who was quietly removed from office as a producer, not as a president of the Academy, that guy, the black guy with the pork pie hat, he was removed because of a slapping incident that occurred that we don't have to get into. But that might have been the lowest level of the Oscars, of course, of all time.
God only knows.
Now, keep in mind, back in the days, in the 50s, 40s, whatever, none of this stuff happened. They put on a show. Nobody beat anybody up. There was no controversy. Only now, this guy, Jimmy Kimmel, this douchebag, this mega douche, had to bring in, during the Best Editing Award, a derogatory denunciation of the J6 presentation of the footage by Tucker, saying it was edited to show that people were peacefully walking around for hours in the Capitol, saying that Tucker did this, that the real footage was what the January 6th committee had. Obviously an insane statement, but Jimmy Kimmel felt the need in the middle of the Oscars to bring this out of left field. And I mean left field, not center field, left field.
Yeah, it's sad that there was a time that the biggest controversy in the Oscars is that they talked too long on their acceptance speech.
Well, they did that too. That was extra.
I mean, but that was about it. It was just like, okay, you think too many people. They went on a little bit. Yeah, but now it's ridiculous.
They made jokes about Judd Hirsch being this mid-80s-year-old guy, and he's sitting there, and of course he didn't win a goddamn thing. All of these other people are props. Top Gun, Avatar, those movies are props, Eric. They're not there to win anything. They're there to bring in the eyeballs. Mm-hmm. It's quite a disingenuous trick. What they're doing is they're using these pop culture films that made a fortune to not give them awards, but to deceive the American public into watching the Oscars.
I think it goes one further. I hate to say, I think it's not only to deceive, but it's to rub our faces.
It could be also.
They literally love that. Oh, they're tuning like they're gonna get an award. Oh, wait till they see this.
I saw that. What's his name? Billy Bush was interviewing Jerry Bruckheimer on the red. It wasn't even a red carpet. It was a tan, dirty, filthy carpet. They couldn't even get a red carpet. They got a tan, champagne-colored carpet. So he was interviewing Jerry Bruckheimer, and he says, "Will there be a Top Gun 3?" And Bruckheimer, to his credit, said, Tom Cruise is not available for 20 years. You know what I mean? Because of commitments. Yeah. And Billy Bush was like, he's such a clown. He was going, hey, come on, you got hey, you do the thing, Top Gun 3, come on. And Bruckheimer, just said, look, I can't explain it any other way to you. And then you had Hugh Grant, who got fed up with that woman interviewing him. He couldn't take it anymore. I mean, there's nobody there. There was no Tom Cruise there. Think about Hollywood royalty. That's not there. You know what I mean? There's no DiCaprios, there's no De Niro's, there's no anybody. There's no Scorsese's. I mean, Spielberg was there because he had the Fablemans. He had to be there. You know what I mean? But other than that, there is no Hollywood royalty. There's no Jack. There's no anybody. Nobody. It's absolutely, and that's why they gave awards to like B horror film actresses like Jamie Lee Curtis. That's where we are now.
Which is controversial, by the way, because she is not of the right color.
Right, but she once showed me her breast, so I have to tip my hat to her for showing me her breast one time at a party. So I do feel a certain type of allegiance to her. And her allegiance to me was, of course, her husband, Christopher Guest, who was an old National Lampoon genius who was involved in Lemmings and a couple of Lampoon shows and a bunch of our comedy albums. So, I mean, I love Christopher Guest and, you know, Best in Show and everything else. He's an incredible talent. He's sitting there weeping for Jamie Lee Curtis, who is a B horror film, but Tony Curtis is Janet Leigh's daughter, the ultimate Nepo baby. The ultimate one. There is nobody. I mean, she's kind of talentless. She was in a bizarre sitcom with a friend of mine named Richard Lewis, called, I think it was called Anything But Love or something like that. Or that might have been the one with what's his name?
I think it was a movie, wasn't it? Not a sitcom.
She was in the one with Richard Lewis, whatever that was. But the reality of it is that's where they are with these awards. They have bottomed out, trying because of their ideological restraints. They're now reduced to give it to these talentless people. And no, slight to Jamie Lee Curtis, but she's not Nicole Kidman. She's not Kate Blanchett. You know what I mean? I mean, this is a woman who made Halloween 10 times, right? And a sitcom. Give me a break. Give me a freaking break.
Hey, we get a tip in here from Locals, which I think timing is right. Expos Forever sent a $10 tip saying calling Jimmy Kimmel a mega douche deserves a tip.
Mega douche. Is that a word, or did I just make that up?
I've heard it before, I think. Okay. But I don't know if it's a real word. I've heard it.
Right.
It could be anything. But okay, well, let's move on. And I want to see, do you think this next guy that we're going to be talking about will be featured in an in memoriam when it comes time? Let's find out.
And caused major confusion today when he claimed the state destroyed the gun used in the deadly shooting on the Rust movie set.
It turns out the gun was not destroyed, but could the condition of that gun still cause problems for the prosecution's case? News 13's Gabriel Chavez spoke to a legal expert.
Well, Dean and Jessica, the attorney I spoke with says that the prosecution could be facing a tougher fight.
A flash of drama in an otherwise routine court hearing where attorneys were hashing out dates in the manslaughter case against actor Alec Baldwin and armor Hannah Gutierrez-Reed. The comment from the defense concerned the gun Alec Baldwin was holding on the set of the movie Rust when he shot and killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins.
The court, I don't think, is aware at this point, but I think I should tell the court that the firearm in this case, that's a great subject of it, was destroyed by the state. So that's obviously an issue, and we're going to have to see that firearm or what's left of it.
In fact, the district attorney's office clarified that the gun was only damaged. According to an FBI report from last year, some of the gun's internal components were fractured during functional testing, but the gun itself remains in evidence and is available for the defense to review.
This is, I'm telling you what, the way
this defense is going.
No, we did. I mean, okay, I'm going to say it right now. Alec Baldwin's lawyers don't miss a trick.
Nope.
These son of a bitches, and we're going to see as it's going. By the time he gets to trial, it's going to be over a parking ticket. It looks like
they're going to be indicted. The other side's going to be indicted by the time he's done with them, because the FBI, to their discredit, again damaged evidence in a state court case that was sent to them. This is not the first time the FBI has done this with their crime lab, damaging evidence. But again, this has nothing to do with Baldwin's guilt or innocence or the murder of the cinematographer. This is on the FBI. You send them a weapon to test, and they send it back damaged. I mean,
and now the defense can say, "What do you mean it can't fire itself? Prove it. It's broken. How we would be proving it for you all day long, but you broke it."
How about when the FBI guy testifies and he's cross-examined by Spiro, and he says, "When did you break the gun? When did you damage the gun? At what point? Before the test? After the test? During the test? What?" And he's just going to focus on when the FBI destroyed, and he's using the word destroyed broadly, but I don't know the damage to that gun. I mean, when he's saying destroyed, I mean, it might be, damaged, destroyed, broken. I mean, you put some definition on destroyed, but clearly by the FBI's own admission, Eric, they damaged the evidence in this case.
Yeah, and
unbelievable.
And destroyed is subjective. It's like, no, can you put a bullet in it and fire it? No.
Well, we don't know. We really don't know.
It's too damaged from what I understand to do that. So
right. So that can negate a lot of the gun evidence that they wanted to bring in, obviously. But it also puts the FBI back on their heels, and they're going to try to avoid testifying in this case. I predict they're going to try to avoid it. I don't know if they can. My second point, I think, where you might be going, is about Andrea Reed.
Yes, I have a clip on that coming.
Go ahead, show that, because this is another thing that's weird.
Hang on.
We begin.
Yep. Let me pull up the screen.
This just in, breaking news.
And that breaking news, the special prosecutor in the Rush shooting investigation is stepping down.
Andrea Reed was appointed in August to investigate how Alec Baldwin shot and killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Now, his team wanted that after she was elected to the State House, arguing she could not work for two branches of government. Reed writing, "It has become clear that the best way I can ensure justice is served in this case is to step down so that the prosecution can focus on the evidence and facts, which clearly show a complete disregard for basic safety protocols leading to the death of Helena Hutchins. I will not allow questions about my serving as a legislator and prosecutor to cloud the real issue at hand."
And there you go. I mean,
okay, now this is something I asked her directly about this when I first met her, right? First thing I said to her was, is there a conflict of interest between you being a state representative and being a special prosecutor? Asked her 3 times. She assured me over and over, this is months ago, assured me over and over and over again there was no problem. Clearly, this took 5 seconds for a judge to throw this out because of the constitutionality.
Well, the judge didn't. She just walked. But I'm sure they...
No. She walked a second before the judge threw it out.
Mm.
That's what happened. She walked and used that as an excuse. I mean, it's completely disingenuous what she said. Completely disingenuous. The judge was going to throw this out no matter what because it violated the Constitution of the state of New Mexico. This was similar to them charging him with a gun enhancement charge that they passed, altered the legislation after he was charged with the involuntary manslaughter. Another blunder, the size of which you wouldn't even see on Law and Order in a blooper reel, if you know what I'm saying. I mean, these two blunders, the gun enhancement and now the special prosecutor conflict of interest, make these people look like the Rube hillbillies that they apparently are compared to Baldwin's law firm. Spiro and these cats out of LA. They are shredding them, Eric. I've never seen anything quite like this. And they begged them not to charge him. The law firm begged them not to charge him criminally. And now they're getting their clocks cleaned. I mean, I emailed her, no response yet. I said, will the state, because of these blunders, drop all charges against the defendants? There's yet to have an answer. I mean, I was sending a provocative question to her after this, but nevertheless, there's been no response.
Well, they're going to have to move quickly. I mean, the truth is that his legal team is squared the F away. Hannah Gutierrez Reed should be thanking God that there's a deep-pocketed guy who's just hammering them, because every single thing here applies to her case as well.
I know. And very fortunate.
It's definitely extremely fortunate.
Well, this schmuck Halls may be the only guy who operated too fast.
I was thinking about that because I think next week he's supposed to go in, and
he may take back his rescind it. Yeah, he may rescind it and say, "Look, this case is completely collapsed." I mean, his schmucky lawyer may have boxed him into a corner where he can't get out.
Yeah, which would be completely insane. But I would look into that and say, you know what? I recant. I rescind.
Right. Put me on trial. We'll see what happens because their case is collapsed. Now, I assume they're going to hire another special prosecutor, or as you and I discussed privately back in the time, that this Soros-appointed lesbian DA may have undermined the case intentionally by getting this MAGA Republican special prosecutor, who she knew damn well was running for office at the time, and we helped promote her run here on this show.
And who chooses the charges? The DA.
The DA chose the
Let's
charges.
put that enhancement on there that we really
can't. I mean, she may have been undermining this case based on the George Soros background that she has from day freaking one. Why do you need a special prosecutor? She said her answer was because this is what the DA is supposed to do. The DA, this guy Gasson in LA doesn't hire special prosecutors. He's got a stable of assistant DAs who go into court and try cases. She said, the George Soros DA in New Mexico said that would tie up her office and they'd only be able to do this case. As opposed to what? As opposed to what cases? Is there a bigger profile case than Alec Baldwin?
Nope.
Is it possible, and I put this out there to the audience, that she was intentionally undermining this case to get rid of it for herself, obviously, but two, maybe to completely undermine the case?
Well, and it's a great way to do it. I mean, let's be realistic. She came at him as hard as possible with the enhancement charge. Everybody got really happy. Oh yeah, he's going down. He's going down. And then because she went heavy, it's kind of like the routine with I think it was Casey Anthony, that they went one after one charge, and that was murder one. There was no lessers, nothing else. So it was like all or nothing, death penalty or nothing, I believe it was. And the jury had two options: to go hardcore or nothing. So they went nothing. And it's a clever way of doing it if that is the case, because, hey, I tried. I threw everything at him. I even pulled in a special prosecutor. I did it all.
Right. Well, what she should have done is try the case herself if she was competent. She may not be competent. She's married to a Latino Mexican sheriff woman. So I don't know what the status of this case is now. I don't know if she's going to try the case herself or she's going to bring in another special prosecutor. Keep in mind, it took her over 1 year to bring the charges. No explanation for the 1 year. There was nobody left to interview. There was no more reports to come in. It was just designed to drag it out over time and let this thing die on the vine.
Yep.
In my humble opinion.
And it is.
What?
I mean, it is dying on the vine. So
And these people did not want any part of this from day one. Part of this from day one. And now, I mean, I don't know how they get out of this, because they're going to have to either drop the charges against everyone or put them on trial and get shredded in trial, make a public spectacle out of themselves. That's why I'm saying they may just drop it. You know what I mean? Because otherwise they're just going to go into court, and these cats are going to come from LA with their, $1,700 suits on, and just shred them and rip them new assholes and show them what it's like to be a big city, big attorney from a big firm. Do you think they want that on their resume? They want that public spectacle? I think not.
No, what I can see her doing is, because the other brilliant move that his team did, and by the way, every freaking move has been tight. It's like whatever side you're on. We all want to see Alec, pay to some degree here. But you have to give credit where it is due. His legal team is kicking ass. And that one brilliant move they put in that mix is, by the way, we want a speedy trial.
Right.
So that puts a clock on this shit.
Right.
And what may happen is they may drop the charges, because they may have to say, because of the error that was made by the special prosecutor.
The two errors.
But that was because of that special prosecutor, which thankfully she has stepped down. We're going to have to drop the charges because it was not handled in the manner that we normally do. It's so disappointing, but we have to look out for justice for everyone, no matter what. I'm sorry.
Well, these disparaging comments that they make after each of these blunders is really disconcerting, because in the gun enhancement charge, they said that, remember, no one is above the law. And they just add these things. And she made the comment that we don't have time, like Baldwin's attorneys, to bill by the hour. Just these stupid high school, statements that they're making, like it's, Mean Girls or something. And the same thing with Reeb. She said, I still believe Baldwin is guilty, as she leaves the case. Really? Really? That's what you're going to say? I mean, let the court decide that. I mean, it's unbelievable statements by these girls.
Yeah, well, and the frustrating thing is that, yes, we even raised money to help for her campaign.
Well,
so we're eating a little bit of words.
No, absolutely. That's a separate issue. That's a separate issue as a state.
But we're going to acknowledge it.
Yes, absolutely.
We were fully supporting her.
Yep. Yep.
And very, very disappointing.
Well, she was a 25-year prosecutor, Eric.
Sure.
Right.
Which
So
would make me think that in those 25 years, did you learn to make sure the law was current?
Well,
again, though, she doesn't create the charge, the DA does.
Did you did you take the time to look at the Constitution of the state of New Mexico to see if you could be special prosecutor and a state representative? Did you bother to look at that? I mean, I don't have time to do that. I assume she did. I assume she did, but apparently not. Apparently not. The judge would have thrown her out anyway, Eric.
Yeah, it's what a mess. What a mess. Okay, so going on to another note, I've got another video clip to share. I just saw this earlier.
What?
It's a very scary clip, very exciting. I'm not going to make any claims on it, and I know Mark won't either. I will just point out that the person involved is 31 years old and in perfect health, or I don't know. They're 31 years old, and well, this happened recently. So hold on.
Okay.
But we won't make any
kind of vacation with Hunley. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah.
Exactly. But we're not going to make any claims of any kind.
10 o'clock in the morning on a busy suburban street, and a B-double truck begins drifting into the bike lane. Within seconds, it mounts the footpath, charging through a road sign and a light pole. Barreling through an intersection, it then wipes out a bus shelter, fences and trees, just stopping short of a house. The entire terrifying event captured on Paul Brackley's car dash cam.
Completely lost control and he was coming right into me. So I put my foot on the accelerator to get away, started crashing into things, and I then immediately pulled up. And then I ran back and helped the guy out of the truck.
The truck driver, a 31-year-old man from New South Wales, was slumped over in the front seat.
He had blood on his face, but he looked okay apart from that.
The driver was taken to hospital, telling Paul he'd just fainted at the wheel, explaining why the runaway rig showed little sign of slowing for so heart-stoppingly long. 4 days later, and residents are still faced with a massive clean-up here, but it all could have been much worse.
Miraculous, no one was killed. Miraculous.
Kelly Hughes, 9 News.
What the hell is that, Hunley? What is that? International Car Crash Week for the show or something?
I don't know.
Find one every week now.
I don't know why it is, but somebody was 31 years old, just randomly fainted while doing their job and going down the road. I have no idea why. I would never want to speculate. Would you, Mark?
No. Booster.
We can't ever speculate on anything like that. We do not give any kind of medical advice or thoughts or opinions.
We were watching a series from Australia last night called Tropo, which I'll recommend. I think it's about 8 episodes. The first year, it's on Amazon. It's on a freebie, Amazon freebie, whatever that means. So it's got commercials, right? So, some people I know are in it, and it's pretty good. It's a detective noir thing, an American detective, ex-cop in Australia with a Australian woman covered with tattoos who's another private eye. So they team up. I saw one episode last night. Anyway, the commercials, every single commercial in there is from Pfizer. It's a thing from Australia. And it was here as a teaser on Amazon to see if anybody would like it. And the commercials were looking like, I never even heard of this. It was a booster by Pfizer for the booster of Pfizer of the original vaccine by Pfizer. And all kinds of shenanigans going on in these commercials. They should have used that one as part of the commercials. That would have been effective.
Yeah, definitely. But just wanted to share. I thought that was a very
happens all the time.
Yeah, of course. It's like comedians on stage. They go out and then they just go.
Yeah, they just keel over because the blood pressure drops from 120 over 60 to 60 over 60. And that's what Dr. Drew told me. The blood pressure drops at lightning speed. Your blood pressure. The reason they're keeling over is the drop in the blood pressure.
Sure.
And of course, why the blood is dropping is something to do with the heart and blah, blah, blah. And
randomness, just randomness.
Just random things that people go through on a daily basis,
Such a shame. Such a shame.
Now, why don't you mention the Doug Mackey trial as long as you're on to something? The guy who did the Hillary meme, who they're now putting on trial. He did the election meme against Hillary that you could text. I don't know if you know about this case. His lawyer was on Tucker last night, facing 10 years in jail for a political meme. And the Justice Department is going after him full bore for election fraud, election engineering, and everything else. It was a political cartoon, essentially, or a meme, as you people call it. Guy's name is Doug Mackey, if you want to support him. He's on trial for his life right now under the Merrick Garland Gestapo Department of Justice that has decided to dedicate all their resources against a guy who made political jokes against Hillary Clinton.
Shocking.
Yeah, so really outrageous stuff.
Well, it sounds. I mean, maybe not to the degree, but like Count Dankula and the dog that did German salutes.
Right. Well, that was in England. This is here.
No, I know, right. But it's all coming. It's creeping in. Look at what Trudeau's doing. It's creeping down. Look what Australia's doing.
Absolutely.
It's creeping over. I mean, it's
absolutely. You know, it's creeping around. A lot of these places are testing out. I mean, a lot of the EU stuff ends up creeping into our laws or attempts at EU, the hate speeches from the EU. I mean, look at Credit Suisse. Like, that bank failed. They needed $72 billion yesterday. You think the bank needs money when they ask for a $72 billion bailout? You think if you're in that bank, you don't want to pull out your money because it's a bank without money? This thing is starting to spread. What somebody said, I was watching the Duran yesterday, and they're talking about, and Jimmy Dore had on the guy who was partners with Peter Thiel, the guy who invented PayPal. I forget the guy's name.
Peter Thiel. Yeah.
No. It was his partner.
Oh, okay.
His partner. He was on, and he was explaining how there is 4 banks. These are now the official 4 banks. There's SIBs, Special Investment Banks, and includes Chase, Wells Fargo, B of A, and a 4th one. And all the other regional banks are being destroyed intentionally. They're taking them down. And why would anybody put their money in banks that are not protected any longer? The $250,000 limit is there, but these banks are business banks, and the $250,000 doesn't cut it. You know what I mean? So people can't make payrolls for their businesses, whether it's a restaurant.
Yeah, but I'm going to push back because I'm tired of this bullshit of like that the Fed has to insure them for whatever it is. It's like
not insure. They pay the insurance into that account, Eric. They pay for it. The banks pay that insurance into it. So it's not the federal bailout that you think it is. It's a fee, a tax that they pay into a pool of money for the bailouts. But the bailout is at $250 is not enough to bail out the businesses that are the bank's customers. In other words, the average person obviously doesn't have $250 in there. So the $250 doesn't protect either side, is what this guy was saying.
No, I get it, but I'm saying that the banks are failing on their own because they need to cover. They have to cover their backside when they bring it in and they have money out like that. They have to be able to cover their own deposits, and there are other insurances they could buy without depending on.
Right. So they got rid of the regulators, and now the Biden administration did not restore the regulators. Apparently, the regulators have disappeared. Remember, there used to be bank regulators.
Apparently, it was under Trump. So I'm not going to.
Yes, absolutely.
So, well, let's be fair here.
No, absolutely. And Biden refused to restore them after making hay out of the bank regulator thing. So now the banks are failing, not just here. This is in the EU, having nothing to do with us. Credit Suisse completely collapsed 2 days ago in Europe because this is all because of the sanctions against Russia. This is all because of the energy situation.
Sure.
This is all because of the Ukrainian situation. The chickens are coming home to roost. This is not about venture capitalists investing in some donut company in Ohio. This is much more global and much bigger than that. This is finally the dust beginning to settle on the sanctions and the cutoff of fuel and energy to Western Europe and ostensibly to the United States. So this is the chickens coming home to roost.
Yeah, and it's going to get really.
Yeah. This is the tip of the iceberg. So we're going to end up with 4 national banks. Maybe they'll combine into 2.
Well, this is the problem: is they're trying to use it and pivot into the digital currency.
Absolutely.
And that's why crypto, I think, is starting to take off again. Because you've got the other side. They're like, oh shit, maybe that Bitcoin's not so bad.
Right.
And people are looking, scrambling
well,
all over.
Also, this is going to allow them with the 4 banks or maybe the 2 banks, when the dust settles, to begin social credit scores.
That's part 2. Yeah.
to implement the social credit scores. Good luck getting on a plane when you got a bad social credit score.
We're screwed.
No, I know. Yeah, no, I know. This
Like
is not going to work out. But the Chinese love it. Apparently, the Chinese are all for this.
Of course they are.
Right.
They invented it.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, the Chinese are definitely for it. So let me see.
Well, there's a break in the action. We'll give Pasha the Yiddish word of the day. It's Simis, Tsimmes. That's for Pasha who went to dinner. Simis is a Jewish type of stew with meat and potatoes in it. So he may be eating Simis right now, Pasha. So that's the Yiddish word of the day for him.
All right. Well, you know what? While we have a break in, let's get some audience participation.
Oh, yeah. Let's
super chats in here.
Yeah. And don't forget, this is also a video pick of the week. Seconds with John Frankenheimer's film starring Rock Hudson as you've never seen him. If you want to see a psychological thriller, check out Seconds by John Frankenheimer, 1966, starring Rock Hudson.
Okay. Reese Morris, your Eugene Dinkin video is my favorite. Question: what excuse did LBJ give for flying to Luxembourg on short notice?
He didn't give any excuse. He just went to Air Force Two, got on the plane, and left. I mean, there is no excuse. Obviously, there was some State Department glad handing. It was about the underlying thing was to support the economy of Western Europe and to bolster these administrations in the Benelux countries. That was I read the CIA prepared bios for him. They prepared bios so when he met the heads of state, he would know who did what they liked, what food they liked, some other mumbo jumbo. But the underlying official reason was merely to prop up relations between these countries and the United States.
All right.
If that
And
helps.
speaking of Pasha, I'm off to dinner soon with the family, so I'll probably miss the live stream. Just a reminder for Yiddish word of the day. We got you covered, Pasha. Hopefully you're watching on replay.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, just
watch out for Mothman.
Have some Simis. Yeah, go ahead.
Chief Inspector Clouseau with a super sticker. Thank you. Darren Conrad. Hi, guys. Mark, those yellow Red Bulls are pretty good.
I know. It's unbelievable. The yellow edition is absolutely delicious. Tip of the hat to them for coming up with this. I got to tell you, they're quite delicious. Thanks.
All right. Clifford Barnes. You guys are great. Thank you. The French government has banned Rumble. I know that, and I think it actually affects our local streams too, because it's on Rumble servers. So I think they may be blocking the IP ranges. Not sure, but I'm hearing that from some of the locals folks.
Yeah.
I respect Chris, though, for standing up to the government and saying, screw you, I'm not taking them down.
Yeah, Barnes is talking about some sort of film division coming out of Rumble at some point, too. Remember, we were in Vegas. I don't know if you were there, but he was talking about this at Vegas.
Oh, it's happening now. The whole Crowder thing with the Mug Club, like he's producing Brian Callen's special, and I think that's part of it. It all started with Dinesh D'Souza releasing his movie, and I think that Crowder's doing that, and others are as well. And the Vegas event on Viva and Barnes is going to be released as a film or part of a yearly membership for them.
Oh, the plot thickens, my friend. You think we'll do that again?
Allegedly in Chattanooga next month.
Chattanooga choo-choo. Choo-choo.
That's the goal.
Woo-woo.
All right. Pamela Clifton's videos and music with a super sticker. Thank you so much. Clifford Barnes. Eric, does the Groubert bear come signed with a Yarmul? Is that right?
I think it means yarmulke.
I
don't know what it means. It's not really a word I'm familiar with, but
I'm not familiar with it, but no.
Yarmul.
Since I don't know what it is, I'm going to say no.
Yarmul. What's a Yarmul?
Let me see. Oh, Gilbert on Norm's show and Gilbert's roast of George Takei are legendary.
Oh yeah.
How dare the butt pirates in the Academy?
Right. I mean, that doesn't get you into the Academy, but I'm saying he did legitimate film work, and he passed away, and he was an Academy member. He was a SAG member. I mean, what else do you need? I mean, for the love of God.
Yeah, no kidding. Strange history of Scott Cardinal. Happy St. Patrick's Day, gentlemen.
Tip of the hat, buddy. Tip of the hat.
Ray K, like Diagolon in
Canada.
in
That must
Canada.
be some guy that Viva's been covering.
Yeah, I'm not
Might
familiar
be
with
some
that.
political prisoner or something. We're not aware. It's hard to keep up with our own political prisoners, let alone Canadian political prisoners. What we need is an international group of guys like a Green Beret or something to go around the world, and deal with this stuff. A small platoon of men, bold. It could be a woman, I don't know, but like an underground group we need. With berets. You got to have a beret.
Gotta have a brain. Okay. Let me see. Sir Lawrence, I told my hairdresser, give me the Groubert, and now I have to beat women off with a stick.
See that? Good move, my friend. Good move.
And Judy Pratt, how did you two meet? And Eric, how did you meet Barnes? And happy St. Patrick's Day. If only he would run the snakes out of Congress. I met Viva before David met Barnes. So I've known David since 2019. I had him on the show. He wanted to call ahead because he thought I might be a CIA or something. Didn't know why I wanted him on my show. I'm not kidding.
Oh, by the way, Jimmy Dore, was Jimmy Dore pointing this out? Somebody pointed this out. Oh no, it was Blumenthal and Aaron Mate. The CIA is now officially backing South by Southwest Film and Music Festival on their website. The famous South by Southwest Alternative Music and Film Festival is now officially sponsored, and I can't make this up. Look at the CIA website, cia.gov, and also the website for South by Southwest out of Austin, Texas, is now sponsored by the Central Intelligence Agency. Thank you. And if you think I was crazy about the CIA in Hollywood, go back and look at that episode from a year ago and see how crazy I was then.
Yeah, actually, that episode it first came out in July 2021.
Right.
So it's going on 2 years.
Yeah. I was going to say 2 years. Yeah.
And Barnes just released an article about, oh, no, sorry. No, it was before that. It was like April 2021. So it is almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Barnes released an article about the Obama family and the CIA.
Mm-hmm.
That was written in October. Our episode came out in July on Eric Hunley channel of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, been on top of it for a bit.
Yeah. A little ahead of the curve on that one.
And then, okay, so I met Barnes because he met with David, and then I had Barnes on. And then Mark, I'm assuming that you said something to me on Twitter. It's the best I can remember. Like you commented or whatever, and then you said, I could tell you about such and such.
I did? I said that?
Oh, whatever it might have been. And then I was like, okay, who is this guy? Then I found an interview with somebody you knew from the rehab world.
No,
and you were given the history of alcohol.
Steve Gibb, yeah. Steve Gibb is a musician who's the son of Barry Gibb from the Bee Gees.
Okay, well, I didn't know. I mean, I just found a podcast with
he had a podcast. I went on there, but I also was on with Dr. Drew a lot.
Well, I know that, but we had to track that down. Anyway, I just found that, and I was like, wow, I was really fascinated the way you told the story. And then I reached out to you. I'm like, okay, whatever. You mentioned Dr. Drew. We looked for it. I think I dug up an old episode. A lot of them are just gone. They're very hard to.
Yeah, they went behind a paywall that Drew had. I'm not really sure what happened there. How you're supposed to get those, but.
It's probably just gone. You never know. And anyway, so then I got Mark to come on, and we were going to do a show maybe once a month or so on my channel. And then Mark, we're talking all the time on the phone. Mark's like, hey, Hunley, I'm going to be dead before I get these stories out. We need to pick it up.
That's funny.
And we did, and it went to weekly, and then it went to twice weekly, and now I think we found the right rhythm where it's one is an episode and the second is a hangout, and that seems to flow really well. Alex Stevie Duke, great meeting you guys in Vegas. Thanks, Eric, for the General Walker group.
That guy, yeah, he was pretty good. That was a nice guy,
and he got the General Walker group. And thanks to my brother,
that's right,
Mark, for signing it. You guys are over the top, interesting, and fun.
Right, he was a nice guy. I like that guy.
Yeah, and he's taking it on the in the nuts because he works for the school system and was sharing all of the agenda that's being pushed.
Oh my.
Yeah, which is very, very disturbing.
Was that the guy wearing the blue sport coat?
I believe so, but actually here's a sample of the agenda that he has to cope with. Let me see here. This is a lieutenant governor of which state? Minnesota. Minnesota lieutenant governor.
Because let's be clear,
Mm-hmm.
this is life affirming and life saving healthcare. When our children tell us who they are, it is our job as grown-ups to listen and to believe them.
You know, I added to this on Twitter, Eric, that hold on.
That's
I
what
added
needs
on
to be a good parent.
I added on Twitter that when the children tell us that they are superheroes out of a comic book, it is my job to believe them and help them to fly.
Jump out the window? Okay.
Yeah, based on this theory, when the children tell me that they're really Spider-Man, I have to believe them and help them to become Spider-Man.
That's a good idea. So in order to, or Superman, they can defenestrate. And okay. Oh.
Yeah, and then jump out the window.
Yep. Perfect.
Right.
Anyway,
based on that logic, I mean, when they tell you something that at the age of 5, I'm a girl, you have to believe them. If they tell you I'm Spider-Woman, you have to believe them. They tell you I'm Tinkerbell, you have to believe them. They're 5. Why wouldn't you believe them?
Of course.
They're 5 years old or 7 years old. Why wouldn't you? Of course. Makes perfect, logical, insane sense in their parallel world. You know, the 80, just so you know, this bank up in Silicon Valley gave $84 billion to Black Lives Matter. And you wonder why the bank went under, Eric? They hired an all-woman woke board of directors that immediately gave out $84 billion of somebody's money to Black Lives Matter.
That would be the same Black Lives Matter where the people in Black Lives Matter want them out because she was busy buying a $7 million property.
Right here. Right here.
Hold on. The communist, avowed communist, declares herself communist, like in, living from the state, living steadily, buying her mansion and property and that one. Yeah. They're a great investment.
Well, we now have a mayor here who's a former Black Panther and former communist who visited Fidel Castro something like 35 times during her lifetime.
Don't forget Scientologists.
What?
Don't forget Scientologists.
Scientologist may be the best thing about her in terms of normalcy, but the fact that she's an avowed Marxist and Black Panther, nobody seems to find this unusual as mayor of Los Angeles.
Oh, figures. Hey up, Steph the Alter Nerd. How you doing? Steph the Alter Nerd is part of Popcorn Planet and has her own channel. Awesome YouTuber. Thank you very much. It's great to see you. Chief Inspector Clouseau.
I just want to say something. I put up a YouTube video of Dick Curlis, the country western guy. He wore a patch, a very deep baritone voice, just did a lot of trucker music, right? And I put one up called Tombstone Every Mile, which is because he had played at the Country Music Festival on Hunter Mountain. That's why from the last episode. So after the show, I found this YouTube and I put it up on Twitter. And I got a warning from Twitter because of the lyrics.
Oh, that's right.
That this is a warning label because of Tombstone Every Mile, the name of the song. So you might be triggered by that into something by listening to the legendary Dick Curlis doing trucker music about a icy highway up in Maine that truckers would drive off the road. So I had to get a warning, and they asked, "Do you want to appeal it?" And I said, "No, I don't want to appeal it. I want to keep it as a badge of honor."
Oh, hell yeah!
I don't want to appeal that shit.
Yeah, because it's an embarrassment to them, not you.
Right. Tombstone Every Mile. Jesus Christ.
Did Mark ever work with Ant?
Who is Ant?
I don't know.
Is that
or is it A&T? Is it
A&T something?
It could be A&T.
I don't know.
Previous. I don't know
what that is.
Pushcart Jimmy.
Pushcart Jimmy in
$20. Thank you very much. Amazing. All right. Risa McCartney. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you as well. Thank you very, very much.
Well, do they have a parade anymore? Is St. Patrick's Day allowed to happen, or is that verboten as a white supremacist organization?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Are there any snakes to chase out of?
No, but I mean, they may declare the Irish to be, the IRA or something.
God only knows. Well, I've got one more little thing that we can play that is just kind of a fun sequence, and I thought you might enjoy. And this is the other side of the juicy Smollett story.
Well, the two these are
Sindiro brothers are walking us through what happened.
No,
they took our beautiful bench. This is where we waited for Jussie to come before we attacked them. So
great.
We got here with 10 minutes to spare, and we had to plan our escape route to survey the land. His building is actually right here, right above the stairs that we're going to attack him at. We made sure we got there at 2 a.m. sharp. On the dot. We had no phones because he did not want us to bring any phones. He said, so we don't lose them. I don't know if that's really the reason, but you can deduce your own reason.
These guys are great. These guys are great.
He was nowhere to be found. He was not there. So we were like, damn, what do? We didn't have no way of contacting him. He had no way of contacting us. So we waited here for about, 4 minutes?
It was about 4 minutes,
4 minutes.
But it felt like forever.
Because it was cold as balls. So I saw him out the corner of my eye, and I was like, okay, that's him. Let's go. We gotta go get this Empire.
Look at the guy on the right. Look at the guy on the right.
That's their white boy talk. That's white guy walking.
Let's move fast. Come on, let's get him. Get that nigga. Let's get him. As we crossed the street, we said, hey, to get his attention. Hey, Nick. Hey. He turned around, looked at us, and that's when we started yelling the famous slurs he wanted us to yell. Hey,
aren't you that Empire?
Hey, Empire fat Nick. It's MAGA country. Yeah. And then he said, what did you say to me? And then that's when I threw the first punch at him. I held the blow because I didn't want to hurt him, of course. So I made it look real, but I held it. Then we started tussling, moving around, and then I threw him to the ground. He wanted it to look like he fought back. That was very important for him because he said, hey, don't just beat my ass. Make it look like I'm fighting back and whatnot. So we did that, and then I threw him to the ground. And after I threw him to the ground, he had no bruise. I wanted it to look more real. So then I threw him to the ground. After I threw him to the ground, I used my knuckle and gave him a noogie. So I went like this.
Not a noogie.
Why did I do that? To give him a scar, to give him a mark, to make it look real, like he really did get his ass beat. After I did that, I fake kicked him. I don't know what he was doing. I wasn't paying attention.
That's where I came around with the bleach, the infamous bleach in the hot sauce bottle, poured it on his shirt. Wow. Then I finally put the rope around his face. I did not put it around his neck. I just placed it on his face, and that's when we took off.
Wow. Man, let me tell you something. That should get the Academy Award. The Nigerian brothers. Those two guys should have their own show. Forget about the Man Show with Kimmel and Carolla. These two knuckleheads should have their own show. That was genius.
I love it. And by the way, about the rope in the neck, and somebody else later was talking about the video. Apparently, there were surveillance video of Jussie walking around still holding the freaking sandwich, and the journalist decides that son of a bitch is still holding a sandwich. It must be the best sandwich in the world.
In the world, yeah. Well, the noogie part is the best. The noogie part should go in the Hall of Fame. Just giving them the noogie with the finger. I mean, everybody knows what the noogie is. Even if you're from Nigeria, apparently the noogie translates international boundaries.
That's right.
Kids in Nigeria know the noogie.
That's right.
Wow. And yet this mofo stood up in a United States court denouncing the judge after you heard that. Wouldn't you have loved to have seen that in open court, the testimony by these two guys, what you just saw being reenacted by the special prosecutor, asking them to come to the front of the court and do that for the jury? I would have paid anything to see that in a courtroom. Anything to see that in a courtroom with that guy sitting at the defense table.
Oh, yeah. And
that mutt, that piece of shit. That gutless piece of shit.
Oh, he's horrible. I mean, we're laughing about it, but he did try to start a race war.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And every single commentator on every channel who backed him up in a millisecond with no repercussions, no suspensions, no firings, no docking of pay, nothing. Robin Roberts, that dyke, whatever her thing is over there on ABC, and all those other SOBs who are backing this guy up should have been fired immediately. Your loss.
Despicable. I didn't even realize this was going to be a Hollywood. I mean, there's a lot of Hollywood in this episode.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, it was Oscars. I didn't see it. Just to be honest with you, I didn't see it because we were in Vegas. I didn't see it till Tuesday night. So, I mean,
You watched it?
I watched the entire thing, bro.
Oh my God.
That's why I'm me and you're you.
Yeah,
that's
you
why
need
I'm
help.
the master of pop culture and you're Eric Hunley. I have to watch it by law.
Okay.
I have to watch it.
You have to watch it so I don't have to.
Believe me, no, I'm not entertained by it. I watch it because that's my world. You know what I mean? I didn't watch it for fun. I watched it because I have to watch that freaking train wreck. Like you can't turn away. The worst Oscars was the one of all time, which was in the train station downtown here, where there was like 8 people and wearing masks in the train station. They converted it into a cafe. That's the greatest Oscars of all time. That was 2 years ago, I guess.
Wow. God. What a horrible, horrible situation.
But yeah, I don't know. The viewership was up, I want to say 12%. But that's
because of Top Gun and people hoping.
Yeah, that's up, from the lowest of all time, which is
and maybe they thought there might be another punch. Last year they're like, oh, we missed the punch. Maybe we gotta, maybe Will Smith and Chris Rock will do another punch again.
I think they should have Jimmy Kimmel every year. Because it's ABC, they're ABC, that's Disney. They kept promoting all this Disney crap. By the way, we're watching this thing by David Byrne from Talking Heads. We were just rolling on the floor laughing. I have no idea what this performance was by David Byrne of Talking Heads, right? And we were just going like, why is David Byrne out there to begin with? But it was just insane. If anybody saw that thing by David Byrne, we could find a video, maybe we could put it up on Locals or something. If somebody on the Locals wants to put it up, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. At one point, one of the singers was just wandering around aimlessly. And I said to my friend, where is that singer going? They're all like Asian singers dressed in white. One of them was just wandering off during the performance thinking it was over or something. But anyway, so I said, why is David Byrne there? The next day, A24, the Ellison company of the daughter of Ellison of computer fame, announced that they had purchased all the Talking Head performance videos, jacking them up to 4K, and they're going to release them. That's why David Byrne was on the Oscars, and that's why the Oscars are a piece of shit. That they're able to do that for promotional reasons, like it's some sort of commercial for Pfizer, makes it obvious what they've become now.
What do you think about all these catalog sales? Like Bob Dylan sold his catalog. I guess Pink Floyd is arguing about Pink Floyd's in talks now for $500 million, I guess.
Well, if you're part of that group, I mean, something else just sold recently. Oh, Hunter Mountain from the last week's episode was sold to a conglomerate that owns all these other ski mountains. So the family, the survivor, it's usually the kids, because the kids are spread out. The two father figures of Hunter Mountain, which is Izzy and Orville Slutsky.
Oh, did you mean Larry Ellison?
Larry Ellison Merkel, yeah.
Okay.
The daughter runs A24, and makes a lot of films. So she purchased the Talking Heads concert footage, and they're going to release it in 4K, which explains why the Academy had to have David Byrne on the Academy Awards, because a private company was purchasing the Talking Heads concert footage. If you understand the logic.
And of course, this isn't the Grammys. It's the Academy. Anyway,
right. But even the Grammys wouldn't do this, is what I'm saying. This is something the Grammys borderline would do. But here's the Academy freaking Awards. What does that have to do with David Byrne and Talking Heads? Again, I think it's just corruption and payola.
Stop making sense.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, But the reality of it is, David Byrne. When you think of David Byrne, you think of Gone with the Wind and Chinatown and The Goodfellas and Godfather. You think of all the great films that David Byrne and Talking Heads were involved in.
Of course, I like the band, but
no. I mean, but what does it have to do with the Oscars? It's all I'm saying.
Not much. No.
Right. I mean, there are people who would have cut their wrists to be involved in the Oscars who are really film people. By the way,
We don't have room for those.
They restored all the guilds that they cut out last year from the Oscars. They gave them awards because everybody went batshit crazy. They were removed from the Oscars. The different guilds that only did not have people of color in those guilds, so they couldn't possibly win an award, which was why they were removed. Those guilds went batshit crazy, demanding that they be restored, and they were restored to real time during the Oscars.
Well, that's what I love is the diversity where they start to eat their own, because
yeah.
I mean, Hollywood is a union-driven thing. A guild is literally a union. And so it's like the leftists are very in bed with unions, but now they've gone so far down a woke track that they're eating their own. It's like you just kind of have to sit there and watch and laugh because
there's some guilds that have very few people of color. Let's put it that way. They're just not in there. So they decided that a person of color could not win an award. So we might as well get rid of these in real time and stretch out the other awards. Well, those guilds threatened to walk, thereby creating a logjam in Hollywood. So they realized this was a bridge too far.
Good. I wish they did walk.
Yeah.
I mean, ugh.
Well, the teachers may walk here in LA on Tuesday, which will be great. After 2.5 years of not working for COVID and going to Miami and laying on the beach in Mexico, they came back and now they want to go on strike.
What would be funny is if all the test scores went up while the teachers are gone. I wouldn't be surprised.
These kids are now borderline Down syndrome kids in terms of reading and everything else. So I don't know how much lower it could get. And I don't think they care because the woman who's the head of the union, Cruz, and again, an avowed Marxist who says her job is to create not reading, writing, and arithmetic, but revolutionaries who are against colonialism. That's what she said in LA Magazine, paraphrasing. This is an avowed Marxist who's the head of the LA Teachers Union, says has nothing to do with teaching the kids. It's all about indoctrination, not even hiding it, just saying it's about indoctrination into Marxist culture.
Lovely.
Yep.
Lovely. All right, we got a few more supports that came in. Brian Halcott, $4.99 super sticker. Thank you so much. DH, a futile and stupid gesture about Doug Kinney.
Oh, it's very good. It's actually very good. I recommend it.
Cool.
It's actually very good. And Doug Kinney, of course, the genius behind National Lampoon, who fell or jumped off a cliff in Hawaii.
McHale's in that, right? Joel McHale and
I think so. Yeah.
I like him. I think he's sometimes
I don't know
underrated.
Wasn't he?
He was in Community with Chevy Chase, I think.
No. But I mean, didn't he have the Talk Soup for a while before?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He and John Stewart was on Talk Soup for a bit too.
Absolutely.
So, interesting handoff there. BTK, I was attacked by two soy boys, asked me to lie down on the sidewalk, handed me some pot, and skateboarded away.
That's funny.
All right.
That's a real crime.
Georgina, how are you doing? The funniest part of the video is that they said they were great actors and they walked and talked like white guys. Biden and Pelosi never apologized for spreading the lies.
Right, that's true. Both of those two also. I was trying to focus on the TV people because they are under license from the Federal Communications Commission. And I think that at least they could be fined as a network or fired, because those people, whoever they are, Biden and Pelosi, I'm not sure who they are, but those people are merely elected officials. But the FCC controls the licensing of those networks, and you can't just, yell fire in a crowded theater, which is in essence what they're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
In my humble opinion, anyway.
Strange Universe. I do more, but I already sent a few Brinks trucks worth to Google every year. It's great stuff, guys. Don't let the facts get in the way of the good story.
I don't know what facts were letting in the way of a good story, but we try to give you as many facts as we can. I mean, another fact that I think may be coming to fruition, which I predicted a while back against Barnes' prediction, was the pending indictment of Donald Trump out of New York, which is breaking. The story's breaking today. I'm still sticking with that prediction. So despite what Robert says, I'm going to stick with it.
All right. Well, Clifford Barnes, thank you very much. Rumor has it you can now go to Subway and order a Smollett, a $5 foot long with a free hate crime thrown in. Love it.
That's funny. Rumor has it you can now go to Subway Smollett. That's funny. That's funny. Rumor has it used to be a show on VH1. I know that because my brother was a guest one time, and the host was a friend of mine and almost had a heart attack from my brother just saying crazy crap on the show.
Okay. Wow. Divining Rod. Greetings, gentlemen. Thoughts on the movie Swimming with Sharks? Early appearance of Benicio del Toro, who has a love child with Rod Stewart's daughter. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Swimming with Sharks is great. I think it's with Kevin Spacey, if that's the one I'm thinking of, but that very good movie.
Awesome.
Ties the guy to the chair, I think, and tortures him and stuff. They kidnap an agent or a producer.
Oh, good times. Good times for all. All right. So we're good. Nothing's come through on Rumble, but a lot of audience there. 558 watching.
Where are they? Over here?
Most of the people are here.
Where? On the comment live. Let me add this up.
Oh, you want to calculate? Okay.
Yeah,
So,
let me just calculate this.
what is it? 558 for Rumble.
Go on.
79 on locals.
Right on.
2174 on YouTube.
2174. Okay, good.
That's it.
That's pretty good, Hunley.
I'd say so. That's a lot of people watching, and thank you very much.
Wow. Especially for a holiday today.
Alex Davy Duke. By the way, Mark, you probably already know this. The Marxist teachers and others are being used as useful idiots to get the billionaires owning everything, and the rest of us are their serfs.
Well,
Yeah.
they're definitely useful idiots. Yeah, I agree. I mean, they can't defend intellectually, logically, any argument that they may have. There was a guy, federal judge, who was at Stanford last week, as you saw, Eric, who was shouted down by the law department. The students and the dean of the law school shouted the guy down who was invited to speak by the Young Conservative League at Stanford and was not allowed to speak, at the school. I don't know how you defend that other than to say we are fascists against free speech, which they basically are saying. And it's okay. It's all right. Bring it on. Don't hide behind some other mumbo jumbo. Speak from your heart. Tell us that you're fascist. Tell us that you're against the First and Second Amendment. We know you're against the second already. So, take the first two. You don't like either one of them.
Yeah, why stop there? Jeff SK on locals asked, did we ever find the footage of you making funny faces and saying that you had facial Tourette's?
I haven't looked. I got to get in the garage and take a look, see what this crap is. I'm going to take a look for that.
Awesome. And
I put a lot of stuff up on locals from the 100 Mountain episode. If anybody,
you did.
I did what I said. Right? Did I put up?
No,
what I
you
said?
have a lot there. Yeah.
Okay, so you want to go on locals and take a look at it. But some of it's behind a paywall. But if you want to become a member of locals, Eric is running the banner down below. That's where the real action is. This is merely a commercial for locals, the show. So if you really want to know where the activity is, join locals.
For free. You can follow for free on locals.
Right.
And
Or
if you like it, you can support.
for $5 or something,
Yep.
I'm on PayPal with the JFK Book Fund. If anybody wants to make a donation, I'm not going to kill you if you donate some money. If you don't donate some money, it's okay too. I don't give a crap, but it does help get the books that we need to do the show. You'll see the link down below for me on PayPal or Venmo if you don't like PayPal. So that's cool. And then
you can always send me money.
you can just send Hunley anything. You could send Hunley inflatable dolls and he's happy. But I do want to say this. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers, me and Hunley. So we're at 60 something or other. So if you haven't subscribed, please, we hate to waste time by asking. It's not a question of asking for subscription. It's just a waste of time of airtime. But it's every once in a while, we have to ask you to subscribe to the channel so we can boost these numbers, get to 70. We're at 60 something already, which I'm in shock. But my personal goal is to get to 100. I don't know, because 100, I can kind of get us some people to come on the show at 100 that we may not. That's all I give a shit about. I don't care about the number itself. It allows me to talk to a publicist and say, we have X amount of subscribers. Can you get fucko to come on the show?
And there is a very specific one in mind that we will not name, but I know that Mark has been talking back and forth with the with their camp. This individual,
it's just embarrassing, but I need 100,000. So if you can somehow, and it doesn't cost anything, for the love of God, just push the damn subscription button. Would it kill you? I mean, it's not even for money, for Christ's sake. Just push the button so we can get to 100, Hunley and I. We can get some decent guests on the show. Wait, I'm going to go to the big cup now.
Oh, the big cup. All right. Nope, we already got the Alex to Davy Duke. Okay. Well, on that note,
what happened to the Chattanooga thing?
I don't have the venue yet. I believe I believe it's April 15th.
Right. So what are they supposed to do? This is through Viva and Barnes. That's
right. Everything's we're sidekicks or opening act. I don't know how you put it.
Right.
So it's controlled.
Barnes. So don't blame us. We're just the support backup band or something. We're Chuck Berry's backup band that travel, they pick you up in the city, and then we support Barnes and Viva, whatever they say. We're like, that's right. Tell him what he's won, Bob.
Which we do enjoy doing. So,
no, it was great. It was great. It was a lot of fun. It really was a lot of fun.
So let me see. We've got the pedestrian Groubert.
Do you have anything in green for any of this stuff coming green? For
T-shirts.
It's green?
There are T-shirts that are green.
I didn't know.
I believe that there is a green option.
Okay.
I don't know how good it looks with the logo, but it's definitely, I believe, an option. One of the colors.
Right. Okay.
And so Tuesday, do we know what we're doing?
I do, but I'm not going to tell you now because it's.
I see.
Yeah, it's too big to fail, as they say in the banking industry. But I got a feeling it may be time for this one on Tuesday. I'm not sure. It depends on how much I can read. Jesus Christ, I got so many distractions, Hunley. I got to focus on reading a lot between now and Tuesday. That's why I don't want to make any promises about Tuesday. But man, we got to get to this eventually. So I'll try to get to it by Tuesday.
Oh, on that note, Mark needs to get to reading. And we will see everyone.
I got to get out of here and start reading, bro.
I got a grill stream tomorrow on Locals. Hope to see you there. And other than that, we'll see you Tuesday.
Okay, then. Let's just leave.